During World War II, over 1,000 Japanese women and children were held as prisoners of war in a remote camp in Tatura, Australia. Most were civilians. Caught in the tides of war, many from the Dutch East Indies, they were nurses, missionaries, mothers, and their children, living in a strange new world, far from home. Life in the Tatura camp was a strange mix of routine and uncertainty. They had shelter, food, and relative safety. But they were still prisoners, their futures unknown. Among the guards at Tatura was a young Australian soldier. Let's call him Frank. Frank was different. He wasn't like the other guards who kept a professional, distant demeanor. He was curious, and perhaps a bit lonely. He had a background that was unusual for an Australian soldier at the time. His family had German roots. He'd picked up some German phrases from his grandparents. He also wanted to connect with the Japanese prisoners, to show some small kindness in a world consumed by conflict. So, one day, Frank decided to learn a Japanese word. The most common one he could find was Konnichiwa, a simple hello rhymed. With his new word, and a phrase from his own heritage, he approached a group of Japanese women, smiled, trying to be friendly, and said, Konnichiwa Meine Schwester. Hello, my sister. He thought he was being clever, bridging 3 cultures with one simple sentence. Japanese for hello, German for my sister, spoken by an Australian, a gesture of universal brotherhood. Or so he believed. The reaction was not what he expected. Instead of smiles, he was met with looks of shock, fear, and then tears. The women quickly turned away, their shoulders shaken with sobs. Frank was utterly baffled. What had he done wrong? He had tried to be kind, to offer a moment of human connection, but his words had landed like a blow, causing deep and immediate distress. He retreated, confused and hurt, leaving a wake of silent suffering. To understand why this seemingly innocent greeting caused such pain, we have to step back and look at the world from the perspective of these Japanese women. For them, the word sister, or Schwester in German, was not just a familial term. In the context they came from, it was deeply intertwined with the Christian missions. In the Dutch East Indies, many missions were run by German nuns. These women would have known them as Schwesters. The war in the Pacific was brutal. When Japanese forces invaded the Dutch East Indies, European civilians, including these German nuns, were interned in horrific conditions. Many of the Japanese women, now in Tatura, had worked as nurses or aides in these very camps. They had witnessed unimaginable suffering. They saw the Schwesters, the German nuns, starve, suffer from disease, and endure cruelty. For these Japanese women, the word Schwester was a trigger. It wasn't a word of kinship. It was a symbol of trauma, a direct reminder of the death and despair they had witnessed and been powerless to stop. So when Frank, their Australian captor, approached them and used that specific word, their minds weren't processing a friendly greeting. They were hearing an echo from the darkest chapter of their lives. The combination of Konnichiwa, a word from their own language, and Schwester, a word loaded with traumatic memories, created a terrifying cognitive dissonance. It was as if their past trauma was being served up to them by their present captor in their own language. Was he mocking them? Was this some cruel, psychological game? Did he somehow know about their past, about the things they had seen? These questions likely flooded their minds. The friendly intention was completely lost in translation, not of language, but of experience and trauma. His German heritage, which he saw as a bridge, became an accidental weapon. The German word, spoken by an Allied soldier, might have even felt like a bizarre accusation, linking them to the suffering of the German nuns they had left behind. The incident highlights a profound gap in understanding that often exists in times of war. Frank saw the women as Japanese prisoners. He didn't see their individual histories, their personal traumas, or the complex web of experiences that shaped their reality. He saw a stereotype, and he tried to connect with that stereotype using a clumsy, albeit well-intentioned, tool. The women, in turn, saw him not as an individual named Frank, but as the guard, a figure of authority representing the power that held them captive. His words weren't a personal gesture. They were a message from the system that controlled their lives. This story also speaks to the nature of trauma. Traumatic memories aren't stored like normal memories. They can be triggered by seemingly random sights, sounds, or words. A simple word can unlock a flood of emotions and physical reactions, transporting a person right back to the moment of their trauma. For these women, the word Schwester was a key that unlocked a Pandora's box of grief, guilt, and horror. They might have felt a sense of survivor's guilt, having been transported to safety in Australia, while the nuns they knew were left to suffer and die. The cultural context is also crucial. In Japanese culture at the time, displaying vulnerability, especially to an outsider and a captor, was deeply ingrained as something to be avoided. The fact that they broke down in tears shows the sheer, overwhelming power of the trigger. It bypassed all their cultural conditioning and hit them at their most vulnerable core. Frank's greeting didn't just make them sad, it shattered their composure and forced them to confront a past they were desperately trying to survive. We don't know if Frank ever learned the true reason for their reaction. The story comes to us through camp records and memoirs, a small but powerful anecdote about the invisible wounds of war. It's a poignant reminder that in conflict, the damage isn't just done by bombs and bullets. It's done by misunderstanding, by the failure to see the humanity and the history in the person standing opposite you. This event in Tachura camp is a microcosm of a larger truth. Communication is more than just words. It's about shared context, empathy, and an awareness of the other person's journey. Frank's intentions were good. He wanted to build a bridge, but he tried to build it with materials he didn't understand over a chasm of trauma he couldn't see. The result was not connection, but a painful reminder of separation and suffering. It is a story that urges us to look beyond labels like prisoner or guard, enemy or ally. Behind every label is a human being with a unique and often painful story. And sometimes the kindest thing we can do is not to speak, but to listen, and to try, however imperfectly, to understand. This small, forgotten incident from a dusty camp in Australia over 80 years ago still has so much to teach us about empathy, the hidden scars of war, and the profound, and sometimes painful, power of words. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for more hidden histories from around the world. We'll see you in the next one.